Were you ever, or have you ever been burnt out through work?
Oh yeah, dude. I personally believe that let's go there. I believe people that say that burnout isn't real are employers. They have employees, and so they are incentivized to say such things. Burnout is so fucking real. Like, all you got to do is talk to an athlete. Like, like I came up in powerlifting, right? And overtraining is a very real thing. Okay, uh, there's people online that say overtraining isn't a thing. I was fucking filming with the biggest bodybuilders and powerlifters in the world. Overtraining is a fucking thing. Like, at the highest level, they're worried about it and taking care and being cognizant of it. And yeah, I think burnout is 100% real. I've had times where, I mean, I think a lot of people look at seasons where they've burnt out with a disdain to it. I don't. So I want to be very clear. The story I'm about to share, I look at with so much positivity, and I would not be where I am without it. But in New York City, when I was working with Gary, I got burnt out. 100 fucking percent, dude. Like, I moved from rural, small town Washington to New York City, lived out in Brooklyn, commuted an hour on the subway into the city every morning, and commuted an hour home every night. I saw more people on my commute into work than I would see in 3 months where I grew up. So, like, one, just sensory overload there was like fucking absurd. Then, filming with I'd be willing to go to bat against anyone. The busiest man on fucking earth. Like, that dude, his calendar rivals anybody. I guarantee. And so that was like, you're always on, right? Because you're not only filming, you're managing the calendar. You're looking at, like, hey, gee, like, this meeting was 5 minutes. We got 1 minute left, and you got the next 5 minute meeting. And then after that, there's a 2 minute meeting. I'm talking like very granular on the calendar. So yeah, dude, I definitely got to a point. I mean, I have clips when I was editing Trash Talk. Um, I would get the footage on Sunday, and I would basically work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 12 to 14-hour days. And then Thursday, I would come in around somewhere between 6:30 and 8 a.m. And I wouldn't leave until Friday at 2 p.m. after the video had shipped. Literally just work straight through. And I did that for all four of the Trash Talk episodes that I edited. And I have clips of me, I mean, like, I don't care. I don't have an ego around it. I was sitting in the fucking bathroom stall crying in the middle of the night, being like, I'm losing my mind. Was this ever because of the pressure that he put on me? No, it was my self-induced pressure, right? Like, I was like, I'm going to murder this episode. People know I'm editing it, so I want my name on this and I want it to be the best possible. So I put a lot of pressure on myself. So historically, what I have found is when I burn out, it's not due to my employers, it's me. I put a lot of pressure on myself. And so now I'm in this weird season where I am my employer. Right? And so if I burn out, it's just because I am not doing a good job of managing myself. Right? I'm not, if I'm an athlete, I'm not doing a good job of stretching, of icing afterwards. I'm not recovering. Right? Because and the other thing too is, as work evolves, I think the way you need to approach it evolves. When I was an editor, I could fucking go 14 hours straight. No, dude, I'd be sitting in an edit and 14 hours would go by like that. I wouldn't even know it flew by, right? But now, if I'm like meeting with a client and we're developing their brand strategy for the next 18 months, and there's all these nuanced variables, I can't do that for 14 hours straight. I got to do that and then go for a walk. And so, like, my work has to change. And it's actually harder for me to do that versus the opposite. I'm actually finding that the discipline comes in more, or is more necessary for me to be like, take a second, go for a walk. That's where all your real inspiration comes, etc.
Very interesting. What would you say to people that would say, burnout is part of the process, and that kind of experience you had was the price you have to pay?
I think it depends on what you want. I think for most people, they should never burn out. I think if you are very, very ambitious, just like, again, if I'm going to use the athlete example, like in powerlifting, if you are truly ambitious and you want to set a world record, so you want to be in the top, 0.01% of powerlifting athletes, you are probably going to injure yourself. You are probably going to overtrain. You are probably going to fatigue. You are probably going to burn out because you're pushing yourself. If you have those big ambitions, it's impossible, in my opinion, to not reach those levels. Now, do I believe that it's good and admirable to go around and tout how great that stuff is? No, I don't think so. Like, I'm not like aiming to burn out. That's not my goal. I do not want that in any way, shape, or form. But what I am trying to do is get as close to touching the sun without getting burnt as possible. And sometimes you do realize, like, shit, I should have used, SPF 80 instead of 30, to use that analogy. Especially when you're pasty white like me. I mean, it burns like crazy.
How do you personally go about kind of recovery and relaxation? What do you do?
I I load up my Harley Davidson and leave my house at 3 in the morning to ride 1,000 miles in 14 hours. That's what I did last week. Literally last Tuesday, I we've been pushing it on filming. We had this crazy 6 hour plus course that we released for free on YouTube. Then we filmed right after that a video that will drop in June on how to build and run a high performing media team. That'll probably be about 2 hours. That'll drop in June. The video that we're going to drop this Friday is actually only 11 minutes or 12 minutes probably, but we spent 4 different days on production because it's a completely different style of video than we've ever done. So I was exhausted from these fucking film sessions. And so I was talking to Trevor and he was like, dude, you should like take a day or something. And I decided to hop on my Harley and do that, which is exhausting. And, I'm sore as fuck. Even a week later, I'm still sore. But that's what I like to do. That, or I'll go for a walk with my girlfriend and my dog. Or, the other thing, and it's not popular amongst people kind of in my world, but I love getting lazy on the couch and watching Netflix for like a whole fucking day. Like, I love a Sunday where it's just like, we're doing nothing but just binging shit and ordering some Uber Eats. I love that shit.
Nice. Okay. It's interesting you said about the Harley. So I've heard this before. Like physical exertion is a great relaxation for someone that works in like a mentally taxing field.
That
So
makes
it sounds
sense.
like
I,
that's
I
what
will say it's also a mental, like, you can imagine if you're going, the speed limit the whole time, of course, you're doing that, you're locked in mentally for 14 hours straight. Like, there's no other form of meditation that I have found that gets me singular focus than writing.
Okay. So you're not thinking of edits and project ideas and
Hell no.
strategy.
Hell no. No, because then that semi might kill me.
Okay. Also on that, do you do those rides solo, and do you have like an end destination in mind, or do you just kind of go off and see where the road takes you?
Dude, I love these questions. Yes, I do them solo and I do them with friends. So it kind of depends, but I have always kind of been a. Are you familiar with Kid Cudi?
Yeah, I used to watch his TV show.
Love that, dude.
I
Yeah,
forgot what the name is.
solo
Nick
dolo.
Jeans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I resonate with the solo dolo anthem. I love going with homies on rides. I used to love going on backpacking trips with homies, but my favorite is honestly going solo. I think it puts you in a little bit more of a sketchy situation, which causes different thoughts to occur, and yeah, I think I mean, dude, not to just go really fucking deep really fast all of a sudden, but when I was younger, I had a tough time with myself, is how I will put it. And I started doing these solo overnight backpacking trips. And that's when I first started getting good with myself and like getting to know. I grew up super conservative, super Christian, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there was some issues that I had with it. And I all of a sudden came to a point where I started, I guess, getting to know the real Caleb, not the Caleb that was formed purely by what he was told to believe growing up. And so that's where I think I really got into these solo trips.
okay. So you almost had to discover your own story before you could kind of tell other people's.
I think so. And personally, Jordan, I think that is something that we are doing until the day we die.
Mm-hmm.
I think, part of building your personal brand is that process of self-discovery. I think Chris Do talks about this like at an exceptional level, where it's like you are ultimately, to build the best personal brand, I think you need to know yourself the most, because if you do that and you're comfortable with it, you'll be willing to put that version of you out there, which you're more likely to stick with because you're not putting on a front. You're actually being just genuinely you.